Apes together, strong. And they're still strong even right now. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Let's just call it the fourth in this new trilogy because I don't actually remember where we would be in the complete series of the Planet of the Apes movies in terms of how many we got right now. But it's been about just started over that. It's been about when was War for when did that come out? I want to say it was like 2017, 18ish, something like that. It's been a good 6 to 8 years, I think, since the last Planet of the Apes movie. My thoughts on the newest, most recent trilogy of Planet of the Apes. They were a good trilogy. I think I like Dawn the most. But War, I think, is also really good. Woody Harrelson is a madman in that movie. He is fantastic in that movie. And I think really the only thing that really hurts the first one is the CGI, while good, was still improving the longer we went with it. And so I think it suffers just a little bit in that sense. But now we get this one. And this one, I've heard a lot of people say it's the best of the series. That's a tough thing. That is a very bold claim to make, but I'll tell you what, it's not entirely an accurate claim. I don't know where I rank this. It's better than the first one. I say it's better than the third one, but is it better than the second one, which most people tend to lean towards as the best one? Let me put it this way. If it's not better than the second one, it's neck and neck with it. This is a fantastic film. It is brilliantly directed, is fantastically is very well acted. It's fantastically acted. Screw it. It visually it is like Avatar looks good. Like Avatar is like very feast for the eyes and all that, but I know what I'm looking at isn't real. That's the thing. Like I'm very aware. Like I'm immersed, but I'm like, okay, this is all very CGI heavy and all that. Like because Pandora is like a alienified version of Earth, more or less, I am never fully immersed. Whereas this is like, okay, no, this is just speculative. What happens when we disappear? The world, just the world they're in looks beautiful. It just looks like nature. They never say, I think, where this particular Planet of the Apes takes place. There's even a thing at the end where someone is saying, "Oh, we're in Illinois. Where are you guys calling from?" And they don't actually say where they are. I wasn't able to really figure it out because they're somewhere that's near a coastline. So my guess is they're either on the western seaboard or they're either in somewhere like in the western seaboard or the eastern seaboard. I want to lean more towards the eastern seaboard because, if I'm not mistaken, the majority of the first three films took place on the eastern seaboard. Like I know, like Oregon or Washington, up in those areas was a big place. I think it was like San Francisco or LA took place in the first one. So my guess is, particularly because where we end up, I think you would need to be in near that area of the country in order to get where we end up at the end of the film, at least to get there quicker than the other side. But the film it's beautiful to look at. The effects work is still fantastic on these damn things. Like it's all, this is all CGI. That is the crazy thing. This is all CGI. And yet I believe everything I'm seeing right there. It's because this, I believe, is Drew Goddard, or not Drew Goddard. I'm going to just get Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes info up here right now. I want to say it's Drew Goddard. Maybe I did get there. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. What was the director's name again? That's because this guy, Wes Ball. Why do I think Drew Goddard? Wes Ball does what you need to do to make this kind of movie appealing. He makes you immediately care about the characters. You care about Noah, who is the new ape, who was our new main lead. You care about what was the character's name? Rotha. What I think that was, Raka, the orangutan. You like that character immediately. You care about Ma and May, who is played by Freya Allen, who is the girl baby. You care about all these characters because you you quickly come to understand where they're all coming from, what they're doing, despite what they just trying to save their home, save what they can, save what's left on all fronts. It's not just Noah who's trying to save what he can. May is doing that too, and she's doing it in her own way, which leads to very interesting character conflicts because they have conversations that are very interesting in the sense of, can it work? Can ape and human live together? And the decisions that get made in the story about if that is even possible. You get interesting concepts of belief and faith and religion among these apes, because it starts with the funeral of Caesar from the last movie, and then they cleverly don't tell you how long it's been since his death. They just say it's been many generations. Now, a generation, my dad basically said generation could be like 20 years. True, but not for apes like chimpanzees. Generations could be, like for us, there's a reason we say like Gen X, Millennial, Gen Alpha, because all those are a new generation of people. But it's only like about 10 to 15 years. My guess is it all depends on species, because, for example, to quote the movie, weirdly enough, Mimic. If you've ever seen the horror movie Mimic with giant insects, they developed a new type of insect that was supposed to die off, but they're kept getting mutations every couple generations. And with insects, generations, you could have thousands and thousands and thousands of generations within a couple years. It's about how quickly you breed or are able to reproduce. So with apes, I mean, I get the impression like only 50-ish years have probably passed, because we do see other people in the movie, and even someone else who is capable of talking. But he's probably about like in his 60s, maybe going into his 70s. So my guess, and he's familiar of the world that came prior. So my guess is we're looking at someone who's somewhere along the lines of 50-ish years, maybe even like 40 years. But that's still a lot of generations. And yeah, it's the idea of, the whole ape does not kill other ape. Apes together strong. And you get the one side of that belief, which is what Caesar believed, and then you get the Proxima, King Proxima, who was played very menacingly and very charmingly, weirdly enough, by Kevin Durant, who also seems to be having a good year because he was in Abigail. And you get that, and you get his warped version of that, where he is the Messiah now, and apes together strong. Yes, apes are strong, but not strong enough. Maybe stronger tomorrow. You can also tell too where we're not in the Charlton Heston era yet. We're not at that point, because the apes are not really wearing much in terms of the way of clothing. They are wearing some clothing, but they aren't wearing much in the way of it. And their speech, while they are capable of having a relatively solid conversation, they're still not talking as eloquently as we saw in the original movie, where there was pretty much just, people talking like people would just dress up as apes, which is where more or less that level of intelligence got to. Here, they're more, they will still talk a little bit more. They'll talk somewhat broken English, like, I am only mortal. And there's pauses in how they talk. It's like, I will not be able, do not have enough time. I am only mortal ape. So, yeah, they still will talk like that to some degree. But you can tell they've advanced even further than when we saw them in the last movie as well. So it's very interesting to see the ideologies, the conflicts of faith, the concepts of belief, community versus society, what a kingdom or an empire really means. It's so many things going on in this movie. And when the action hits hard. It is fierce. It is visceral. You feel the impact. You feel the tension, particularly in scenes involving water. There's a lot of water scenes in this movie, surprisingly, particularly near the climax of the film. And that's that gets tense a little bit. Oh God. So yeah. Is there anything else? Is there anything else to really talk about? It also sets us up about sets itself up very well for a sequel. It begs the question of how many people are still around and how many people are still around who aren't affected by the virus. Uh, it's we're clearly not at the Charlton Heston era yet in this film series, so it begs the question on how we're going to screw it up even further. I will note though that if you really wanted to get technical, um, there's very, very little chance that an actual Planet of the Apes could ever happen. Because, and it's all sci-fi, but let's see. Human population in 2024. What is the global population right now? As of right now, we are a little over 8 billion people on this planet as of right now. Even if you were to highball all the way up to the biggest degree you could, let's say 99% of us get wiped out by this virus, and then the remaining of us are either going to survive or become dumb. If you do the math on that, so 1% of 8 billion is 80 million, if I'm not mistaken. So you do the math on that, basically, then you go to, again, I'm doing the math real quick in my head here. That means 90% of that would be 7.2, and then you add another 400 million added on to that. That means that if it were to happen, hypothetically speaking, there would still be about 400 million people left on the planet. You want to guess how many apes between gorillas, orangutans, chimps, gibbons are on the planet? Because that's your core four, by the way, in terms of actual great apes. And gibbons aren't really great apes, but they are apes. We're talking about like your great apes and all that. You want to guess how many gorillas right now are? Gorilla population 2024. Let's try that real quick. Gorilla population 2024. How many estimated gorilla are there right now? At best, there's at best estimated only be about 321,000 gorillas left. Okay. How many orangutans left? Oh, that's going to be a much bigger, much smaller number. Orangutan population 2024. Orangutan is actually, a lot of orangutans are actually facing extinction. They're not, I don't have but yeah, I don't have a firm number on what the population of orangutans is, but, oh, okay, land estimated use potential loss of 40 million orangutans by 30, and a population increase of 81%. Okay, so from the looks of it, the estimate is like only like in the couple tens of thousands, which then brings us to the last one, chimps, which is the most abundant of them. Chimpanzee population 2024, the estimated population at any rate. Let's see, population. There is estimated between 170,000 and 300,000 chimpanzees worldwide, which actually means gorillas technically outnumber chimps. I actually would have thought differently. And then let me try the orangutan one more time. So, orangutan population estimated right now to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 230. And that's with one. Essentially, right now there's estimated to only be about 140,000 plus, with an extra from the Borneo from the Borneo orangutan, Bornean, thank you. And no one said that, but thank myself. And then the Sumatran is only about 7.5. So you're looking at then the numbers of about 112,000 for all their orangutans. So if you add that all together, there aren't even 1 million apes on the planet. And they don't reproduce like rabbits, okay? They still reproduce very similar to us, actually. Which means there's no way on God's green earth the apes would actually ever take over the planet. Because the few of us who would be actually immune to the virus, if you assume that another percentage of us would be gone, even let's just say 200 million of us are immune to the virus and wouldn't like lose our ability to like think or anything like that, or even if we low out to 100 million, that's still 100 times more of us than there are of them. So Planet of the Apes really couldn't, I mean, don't get me wrong, they could make their own society, they could leave us alone, which is really what they were trying to do, is leave us alone, just have their own life. We're just assholes. But yeah, the Planet of the Apes scenario could never happen on a sheer population scale alone. And I highballed that population decline for us too. Very likely it wouldn't be 99%. It'd be closer to probably like 90, which means then there would still be about 1 billion people left. Or about 800 million at any rate. Which again means that there's no way apes would be able to retake a lot of the, the environment, all that, but they would not replace us. But this is why the Planet of the Apes films are just fiction. They really are. It's a speculative fiction that's still fun. But yeah, anyway, regardless, like I said, everyone is doing their damnedest. All the voice acting is incredible, particularly the actor, who I know is apparently from the Orville, who did the voice of Raka, the orangutan. Man, his voice is great. That just deep, gravelly, just resonating voice. Loved him. I like the girl as well. I will admit, like, there's points where I don't like the girl, but I'm kind of supposed to, because I'm like, stop it. Like, stop doing what you're doing. Like, there's a scene she has with the other guy who's I'm not going to say who the actor is who shows up. I'll just say there's another guy who can talk, and they're having interaction. And while he is being a little cowardly, he is making a very good point in that you just, after everything that's happened, you can't go back to what was. It's just not going to be able to happen, at least not anytime soon. You need to embrace the new while trying to hold on to the old. And unfortunately, the girl's young, which does make me wonder how she knows some of the stuff she knows. Probably because it was maybe like passed down to her, or the fact that she's apparently trained to a certain degree, because you see her doing like certain things. I'm like, you don't just know this shit, you were taught this shit. But yeah, because of it, you do end up kind of not liking her, but at the same time, you can't blame her for her actions, because like a lot of people would just want things to go back the way they were. Most people wouldn't have the capacity or the ability to just move on from that tragedy and try to start new. That we'd want to try to go back to what we had. It's just sometimes not in the cards. Oh man, and yeah, I'm really interested to see how they get from here to their original movie. My guess is, if this is going to be a new trilogy, that the last movie, my dad thought, or do you think they're going to remake the original movie? That's a possibility. I'm not saying that's likely. I think they put their own spin on it, but I think more likely you would get the whatever the conflict was in the third movie resolved. You get like the kind of pieces back, or the society's back, but then you see the ship falling from, it looks like a meteor or something like that, and you focus in just enough to realize that's a ship. And that's, I think, where the series is going to end, until you like reboot it again, the new Planet of the Apes. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe another, because we know, like, all I can say is we know the humans aren't done here. They are not done. But until then, my thoughts on it are, this is a fantastic movie. This will be in my top 10, unless for some reason there are another 10 movies better than this. Which, hey, anything's possible. I'm going to be seeing If next week, so maybe If. But then Furiosa, I'm definitely seeing Furiosa. Maybe Furiosa. Heard Furiosa is a little light on the story, but that's okay. I'm not going there for the story. I'm going there to see, was it George Miller? George Miller go ham on the action. Dementis Furiosa! I am Furiosa! Which, by the way, we got the trailer for that. Might as well end with the trailers that I can remember. Trailer for that, looking forward to it. Got another 2 weeks for that. Bad Boys for, I've got smudge on my glasses. I can't get off. Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Look, I'm not a huge Bad Boys fan. God, why can't I get rid of this smudge? I'm not a huge Bad Boys fan, but they're fine movies. I didn't see the last one because the pandemic hit. So, but, yeah, I'm down for it. Looks like fun, which I know the other ones are as well. And it's like I said previously multiple times, it's going to be the real test to see if people are ready to just accept Will Smith again after what happened. So we'll see what happens there. But Bad Boys, Ride or Die. So we got that. We got If. We got think words here, man. If I'm going to bring up the movie thing, why? Oh, we got Inside Out, because remember, this is actually technically a Disney film. 20th century, 20th century. 20th century is Fox. Well, it's not Fox anymore, but it's 20th Century Studios. Is a Disney affiliation because they bought Fox. Let me see here. And where are my upcoming movies? Oh, come on. Sorry. I literally pressed pause so that would not happen. So we had Inside Out 2. It's the most recent trailer for it, but it's a good trailer. I like the trailer. And I like the fact that Anxiety is kind of the bad guy here. I mean, they're not a villain. They just think they're doing what's best for Riley, but let's not mince words. Anxiety and the other 4 emotions are kind of the bad guys here. We got Strangers Chapter 1. I don't give a rat's ass. The more I see that trailer, the more I just don't want to watch it. Like, I don't get... The Strangers is one of those films, I've never seen it, but when I look at it and I kind of know the plot of it, I'm like, I'm kind of tired of movies that end sourly, like especially horror movies that do not end in a good place. I'm kind of tired of that because we got enough doom and gloom in the world. I'm not saying every movie needs a happy ending, and I'm not saying movies can't end that way. I'm just saying there needs to be a balance. And right now, I'm not feeling the balance. There's been a lot of people who've gotten a lot of movies, like you got the, what was it, the Nothing Man or the Bye Bye Man, or not the Bye Bye Man, what was the Empty Man. You got like the Empty Man. There's been just a lot of them that have this just nihilistic streak to them that I'm not a fan of. And that's fine every once in a while. I'm down for a nihilistic movie every once in a while. But that said, you can't do that all the time. It just doesn't make for compelling movies after a while, because they're all just like everyone's all doom and gloom because of it. We got that newest trailer for Twisters again. I remember that. And that's a much better trailer than the first one. I'm more intrigued now to go see it. And Glenn Powell's having a good few years now. He had that breakout hit with Anyone But You. He was in Top Gun Maverick, which I think is where a lot of people found out about him. Me, myself included. Now he's got this. Glenn Powell's really starting to really make a career for himself. So God, good for him on that. The last movie trailer I remember getting was A Quiet Place Day One, but it was the newest trailer that dropped, and thank you. First off, good trailer, very good trailer. And you felt a lot more of the tension in this one. Like, oh God. Beyond that, though, I now can see a new trailer. I don't have to see the same damn trailer over and over and over again. I want that to be the thumbnail moment. Just like, but no, I'm gonna do the Apes Together one for that. But like seriously, I love the first 2 movies. The first 2 movies are great, and I want to see this movie because it's a good franchise. But you needed to give us something new, and thankfully they did. Man, and it kind of shows a little bit more of like what would have gone down. Like for example, they were called Death Angels. Death Angels, they can't fly, so planes flying overhead would definitely distract them. We know also they can't swim and they drown more or less. So isolating them on an island would make sense. But unfortunately, and we're seeing this all from the trailer, by the way. But unfortunately, people getting quarantined on the island. So well, which by the way, look, I love the Quiet Place movies, and I'm talking about Quiet Place on now instead of Kingdom. I find it very difficult to believe that these things took over the entire world, because they first off never really explained how big that meteor was, let alone how many fragments came off it. And even if they did, it's clear that it did not hit every single continent. So, I'm sorry, there's just a big leap in logic. Unless there were multiple meteors landing all over the place. And then again, I'm pretty sure a lot of them probably land in the ocean, which means they all just flat out drowned. So yeah, people who live on isolated islands are fine unless they landed on the island, in which case then they're screwed. I still find it hard to believe that these things could survive a missile to the face. Yeah, they survived re-entry on a planetary level, but they're on an asteroid to begin with. So the asteroid probably took a big brunt of the damage that they were facing. Yeah, I find it very difficult to believe we actually lost to these things. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I digress, though. What did you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you folks for the next one.